Hey guys, it's Wake again, here with another video. This one's going to primarily be around showcasing my map, Lustrian River Valley. And while I'm doing so, I'm going to be having a rather large battle between Lizardmen defenders and Skaven attackers. And I'm going to use this video to take this opportunity to go over some stuff that's specific to Wake's mod that's different from vanilla. For any of those viewers who aren't really aware of Wake's mod or never heard of it or whatever, what have you, but it's also for people who play Wake's mod and like these videos and get a bunch of people who want me to do more. So, before we get to the battle though, I just want to go over the map real quick. So, this map is the largest size that you can make a custom map for Warhammer 2 Total War. And I actually think that's a really important point to go over, because one qualm I have with the vanilla maps is they're often small and often one-dimensional, so you don't get a lot of ability to maneuver or to have cool engagements where lots of things are going on. Now this is something that a lot of the map makers take care of. Most people who make maps make them pretty large or have a lot of avenues for maneuver and lots of cool things going on the map. This one's no different. It's mostly open. It's got a few areas where things get a little claustrophobic, but it is a jungle river map. The distinguishing features are it has two swamps, a ruins area, kind of a river that intersects the entire map, cuts it in half, if you will. Lots of mountainous area, a mountain path, a sort of ruined temple, and I think that's it. But the entire map is covered in extreme lush vegetation. So there are areas, like up the slopes of mountains, such as right here, where the vegetation is kind of lacking. But for the most part, you're talking about really, really dense jungle terrain all the way through. Now, I'll show you that the entire map is covered with jungle, as you can see. But I'll show you sort of the river bisecting the map, which is right here. I'll turn off the extra stuff for this bit. So this river goes from one end, this is one end of the map, all the way to the other end. And this is one of the marsh areas. This is the swamp that leads off from the river. This is actually connected to the ruins over here. Now this is all of this water right here is shallow water. It's not deep enough so that units can't move through, but right next to it the river is deep enough for most of the river so that you cannot cross. There are a few river crossing sections. Right here is one, and then there's a bridge over here. This to my left is actually the old Lizardmen ruins. That is really the centerpiece for anyone defending the map. You don't have to defend here. There's no objectives or anything. It is where I've chosen to make my stand. I think there's a lot of choke points in here that I think will be beneficial to me. Spawning cool area. Oh, I forgot to move those before I deployed them. Whoopsie. And the river continues on. There's a path also that leads across the entire map. Goes through the ruins, starts on nominally where the attackers spawn, goes through the ruins here, up the mountain, and into a ruinous mountain cave, or ruined mountain cave. I'll take you down after going to that big river some more. So if you keep going down the river, it also has some lovely scenic stops along the way. You'll get to an area of the map, one of my personal favorites. This is the larger swamp, and I really wanted to go for something that felt Lustrian to me. None of the vanilla maps really have this. The Lustrian maps don't feel like the art and the sort of way that Lustrian is described in the lore. I really wanted something with extreme vegetation, but it was also full of mangroves and just kind of spurts of flowers and all kinds of things going on. I mean, the only thing really missing would be sort of, you know, animals. If this particular Total War incarnation had roaming animals, that would be awesome. Then this map would really come alive. That was something that Attila did, and I'm almost certain the Three Kingdoms Total War will have. Unfortunately, we didn't get that Warhammer. We're getting it civilians or animals. And there's lots of little different coves back here, but this swamp is particularly large. I mean, if I zoom out here, this sort of section right here is all swamp. And there's lots of room for maneuver and doing fun stuff. So, but if you come back out to the river, it goes to the other side of the map. This is the other side of the map here. And this is generally where the attackers will spawn in this area. Although they have huge swaths of spawning area. They have this whole section here is attackers spawn, and this whole section here is attackers spawn. So whether you're playing campaign or multiplayer, there's a lot of room that you can be attacked from. There's a lot of different variety that can take place in this one map. Lots of different combat sections. It doesn't just have to be you're defending the ruins of the center. I'll show you real quick just the entrance of the path on this side of the map, which is going to be right here. And then, now this is a river valley. We have two large sections of hills with mountains on either side, and then this is the actual river down here that goes in between them. So you have foothills, mountains, mountain, and a river in the center. Now if I go across the map, here's the ruined temple on the other side. Now I try to give any map I do as much realism as possible, as much character as possible. You know, the vanilla maps are really great, but there's so much character that you can't move to, and most of the field battle maps are just really empty. And I just really dislike that, especially for Lustrian, where I think you really should just feel like you're just claustrophobically in this jungle that's just trying to eat you as you're inside of it. So it's just I really wanted that feeling. So I think I've given a pretty good and this right here is a most part dry waterfall. I was thinking, you know, in the sort of wet season this would become much more you know, moving. There'd actually be a lot more water coming down. Right now it's just a little bit of water that's retained up here that's left into a waterfall. Just an excuse for a waterfall, really. I mean, I love waterfalls. But I think I've shown most of the map, so I think I'll just go ahead and start the battle. But before I do, I'll go over the forces real quickly. I have 2 units of skinks, skirmishers over here. I think one's a chameleon, one's a skirmisher. And I'm going to move to this ledge because I'm almost certain there's going to be enemy units over here that are going to try and move up this hill. And this hill is very steep. This is an incline that in Wake's realism mod is incredibly hard to move up. If you're playing vanilla, this would be no problem whatsoever. Units would make it up in a second or two. It'd be easy. However, this is a very hard to surmount incline in the mod, and so it gives us ample opportunity to ambush enemies that are moving up it. I also have sort of, you know, role-playing reinforcements. I have a unit of Source Warriors and Cold One Riders that I'm going to take up the let me turn that off real quick. So I'm going to allow them to move up this stairwell into this mountain area, where this was, if you're playing against, you know, humans or AI that are using this is an excellent flanking spot, or where one can maneuver around. So we're going to take those guys over there. The rest of the units are centered around this temple. Now I have my lord is a Slan, who in the mod is incredibly powerful. They are probably nowhere near what they could be in campaign. If you do a custom battle, they aren't given all their skills and other things. But if I was playing campaign, this guy, if he was souped up, would be an army killer by himself. He's got temple guards who are much better than there. You know, these are brutal guys, able to take on hundreds, if not thousands, of Skaven by themselves. Got lots of skink who don't really match up that well, but they are the mainstay force, and they're where it's going to be holding up that line. Then we've got my Saurus warriors. I've only got, I believe, 2 units of Saurus warrior total, and then a temple guard. These guys are extremely important for the Skaven to hit hard and kill immediately, because they're what's going to be the backbone of my army. If the Skaven can kill these guys and quickly, then it will be the game for them. I have my Saurus Guard veteran on Carnosaur, another big hitter. I'm going to move some chameleon skirmishers and skirmishers up through here to try to harass the enemy. I've got the Stildon, a bunch more skinks. I've got a skink chief, or 2 skink priests, I'm sorry, one having 1 beast on Stegodon. These guys are, you know, big monsters in our mod, are a much bigger deal, I think, than vanilla. They can really hold the line, and, you know, you can't really, it's really hard to kill them with just, like, Skaven slaves, say, and they can really do some damage against them. But anyway, let's get this going. Hopefully this doesn't lag too much. I'm playing with quite a lot of units, and this map is extremely CPU intensive. It's very dense. So yeah, I am getting a little bit of a lag, but just to show you what I'm talking about, we've got about pretty close to 20,000 units in the map at one time, and it's about 16,000 Skaven versus 3,500 lizards. And I don't actually think I have a poor chance of winning this. It's probably pretty even. Not in small part due to the more elite units that I have. Alright, so the Skaven army, which is gigantic, is now moving in. They're kind of moving all their forces here. And you'll notice, for those of you who don't play Wake's Realism or don't know about it, the formations are the first thing you probably notice are different. Skaven, for the most part, are really unorganized, large formation bodies. Some things are different, like Storm Vermin, for instance, have a really organized, tight formation. But this actually comes into play. It's very important, actually. It becomes extremely important, especially for tactics. You know, Skaven by themselves, they're not formed up. Right now, it's not such a good time to do it because they're in dense jungle, but if they were on an open field and there was just a bunch of these Skaven slaves and clan rats like this, it'd be ample opportunity to hit them with, say, a real nice heavy cavalry charge, but then immediately zoom out the backside, because you wouldn't want to get bogged down, and that is something that can happen in waves much more frequently than in vanilla, where things were kind of, you know, sports car-like all the time and things died immediately. You really don't want your heavy cavalry to be bogged down in dense groups of infantry. I'm going to take these guys off skirmish, and hopefully I remember to toggle it back on if they're about to get charged. So, because I think there's going to be at least some enemies that come around this way. They've got plague monks moving up to the swamp. And yeah, there's a little bit of lag here. Now, I mean, my own PC would never have been able to even play this, but I have a really beefy PC now, and even that is having some issues with this. I mean, it's a really dense map, and there's a lot of units. But that's, you know, what you like. Come on, it's the good stuff. Also forgot to bring up these guys. So these guys are actually going to make their way slowly up to here. They will use this path. All the pathfinding on this map should work. Test it myself. Took a long time. It's a pain in the butt, really. But you know, there's a lot of like small areas that units can fit through, but it's sometimes might be a pain to maneuver them through, and that's not a bad thing. You know, sometimes I think anyway, having these really open avenues can be. Oh, I gotta move these guys. Can be good, especially for gameplay reasons. You know, especially, really, honestly, what it is mainly for is the AI and the AI's dumb behavior. What you're doing by making these big avenues is you're making it so that their handicap is lessened because you want more. Because you don't want to face a bad AI. That's what I mean, you don't. No player wants to fight bad AI. I want to fight good AI. The problem is the AI are bad. And whether or not you give them handicaps, sometimes they'll make bad decisions, and sometimes they'll make good decisions. It's kind of a shit show. You're not really gonna have too much control over that. And I find that the best way to give the AI good AI behavior is giving them overwhelming odds against you. Those can be the most fun games. But I mean, there's so many different situations in Wakes mod where you're gonna have a hard time, even if the AI is crap. And there are situations where you're going to have just the easiest time because you have certain things and the AI can't even handle it. Like if you have ethereal units and they don't have any units that can damage ethereal units, you're going to win that battle. And there's so many situations like this that can have a lot of things going on. Now these clan rats are maneuvering here, I believe, to go after not actually hidden right now. The clan rats are going after them, we're just kind of ignoring them. I believe they're going to try and go after these skinks I have. But yeah, you're going to see, so the smart thing here would be, and I've played battles like this on this map, so I generally know what's going to happen here, but the Skaven are probably going to hit me kind of piecemeal. They're going to move all of their units in at once, but not wait for certain units to get organized before hitting me. So I'll kind of end up getting hit by certain units first, and then more units will rifle in. But if you were facing a smart player might organize those forces before he makes his push, in which case you'd have a lot harder time playing this particular mission, or this custom battle. Now these Skaven are going to try and you notice all the speeds are different. I mean, every single thing about Wakes mod is different. We especially took some liberties with the entities, but I mean, every single file has been manipulated in some way to provide more realism or more closer to lore. The general thesis behind Wakes realism mod is realism first and lore, not tabletop necessarily, but lore second. And it's close second, but it's definitely realism first. Okay, see now, I believe what he's going to do is he's going to hit me with these clan rats and hit me with his rados. Yeah, they kind of pincer me. That's not super great. But these chameleon skinks aren't, or maybe he's just going to throw his rat ogres and just try and generally kind of box me in here. The chameleon skinks aren't really that important. I'm not super worried about them. I want them to do what they can, but they're there for harassing and kind of holding up. See, this is exactly what happened the other game too, is they just rushed in the hell pit. Now, I got it. The other thing that happened in the other game, though, is this thing ended up living forever because it does regenerate. So if he retreats this, it's going to be a major issue for me. So I got to make sure I kill him pretty quickly here. The one thing that he didn't realize or didn't take into account is most of my javelin skinks are going to be peppering this guy, and I've got Source Warriors that really need to get. But as you can see, the enemy is just, I mean, there's a lot of their troops are coming down this road here. And as you can see, there's just untold gaggles of them. And more of them yet are crossing the river over here into the swamp to try and hit us from the other side. Which is going to be through here, through these dense jungles, which then lead straight into the defensive line that I have right here. Oh, I'm hearing something. Now this is, I mean, you don't want to, big monsters, especially in Wake's Realism mod, are really terrifying. They're really scary. They're not like vanilla. They can be game changers. They can win or lose battles. But you don't really want to send them in unsupported, especially in this situation because there's so many skinks with javelin. This guy's just got peppered with them. And he's unsupported. He's getting hit by ballistas and the Stegodon. Skinks are hitting him, swords are hitting him. He's not in really a good spot, so it's definitely a bad play by the AI. But what did end up happening another game I played is that this guy routed, then regenerated, then came back. So he was a nuisance the entire game. See if I can't take this Hell Pit Abomination out right now. Unfortunately, my skinks have gotten tied down and are likely about to get massacred. Might as well let them fight it out. Although I think they will quickly just end up getting pretty hammered, especially by those rat ogres. Here you go, the Hell Pit just become your probably enormous amount of javelin. Now it's going to route. We got to keep it from routing because if it routes, it'll get away, regenerate, and come back to be a nuisance. However, it did get it, and since Cave and Slave did come, that ability when they come out. Those Cave and Slave are going to get massacred. These rat ogres are also a major problem. However, it's our soul. Good sword, and we have Proctor. So they should go down. Here we go. Here's what I'm talking about. These guys in vanilla would have been up the hill in no time at all, but because of the steepness of the hill, the incline, they're actually even running, not making that well of progress. And unfortunately, we got the night version of this map, so it's not super easy to see. These caves are kind of blend in at night, but so they're charging up the hill here and leaving us ample time to hit them. If these guys, I mean, this game, skirmishers aren't really that good for range. They're more about harassing than actually killing, but if you had something here like Elven Archers, they could have butchered these whole units of Skaven and slaves before they even had made up the hill. Alright, so kind of a mess going on over here. My line's kind of getting a little distorted. Those rat ogres go.
Something. Fight. Lustrian
But now we start to see the main Skaven lines kind of cycling in. Now actually this is less of them on this side. I think more of this side's forces are kind of in the back there. You can see right here moving forward. But we do have quite a lot of guys about to come to the bridge. And unfortunately for them, I have a Bastillodon over here, and these things are extremely hard to kill in the mod. Unless you have something specific like a cannon. A cannon will kill a Bastillodon pretty easily, actually. Unfortunately for Skaven, they don't have a lot of that in this battle. And the AI wouldn't probably be able to take advantage of that very well if they did. I gave them one Plague Claw Catapult, but to be honest with you, the way the mod works, this jungle is such a deterrent to moving that Plague Claw Catapult that it's probably still near their spawn point, and I don't know if I'm going to see too much of it in this battle. Although I don't see it currently. So maybe they moved it up. Maybe they're being smart. Everything, all the ground stats are completely... I mean, when I say everything, I mean everything's completely changed about the mod. So vanilla ground stats were basically kind of nondescript. They're kind of everything's the same. But it's definitely changed up for our mod, and it's by no means final. Still work in progress. But sorry, for instance, roads. Your units do go faster on roads. You know, it depends on the unit. But like, okay, for instance, chariots are, for the most part, crap. And they will move incredibly slow in most terrain. So, like deserts or roads, they're good on. Okay. That's good. So these guys still got caught up. So this lane's getting a little overrun. Skaven have, Skaven slaves have inferior moral to chameleons, so, I'm sorry, skinks. So even though they're outnumbered extremely heavily and they're not the correct, these are chameleon skinks and they're basically, you know, like basically melee infantry, they still might put up a little bit of a fight. And that's usually what happens with lizard, but even skinks, they might not kill a lot or win, skinks specifically, but they're going to hold the line pretty well. Okay, so these guys right here, these Skaven slave spears are shattered, which means they are not going to come back. They're permanently routed. Oh, we got some mad ogres coming in. These guys are mean. Mad ogres are very mean and definitely capable of immediately taking on my better units. I'm going to try and use my Steam Javelin to take on the more, the more elite Skaven stuff, like Rat Ogres. Right here, these guys throwing in, because they can actually put a little bit of a dent in that Philodon. And we're getting some routing. Those guys are actually terrified. And this is a Warlord. Oh, no, that's a Red Ogre. I'm sorry. I thought it was a second. Unfortunately, my chameleon speaks are kind of having this fall back, firing, falling back, firing sort of situation going on. Getting into a little bit of melee. Every time the clan rats happen to get up on top of them, they kill a bunch of them. The chameleons get away, do a little bit of damage, come back. So, kind of, they're definitely holding up the skate, which is good. But they're not really winning by any stretch of the imagination. Sometimes it's not about winning. It's definitely the case when it's realism. There's a lot more tactics, maneuver going on than in, say, vanilla. You know, see right here. So there was a bunch of guys hitting the Bastillodon that had now moved off. Now what probably happened is a lot of them were shaken and then routed, but rallied quite quickly afterwards. So this clan rat was probably shaken and routed. These Skaven slaves certainly were, but they're going to then rally pretty quickly. And see, this is good because this is the Skaven AI forming up a bunch of forces here, and if it hit me all at once, that would be pretty scary for me. But they might just be trying to hit me with some skirmishers right now, which is even worse because that means it allows time for more of their melee units to come in. But with Skaven especially, probably more so than any other faction, you really routing units, unless you can route them all the way off the map, really isn't that big a deal for them. You know, you've just seen these Rat Ogres yet again rally, and this is actually a tactic that is pretty useful for the Skaven. I mentioned this in the other video with the orcs, but you'll have this situation where you're constantly trying to chase after Skaven units that are routing, that are running away from you, but they're faster than most of your units. You're going after them, they rally, your units are out of position, and then your units get ambushed because there's so much disorganization and confusion in your own line. You no longer have the battle line, there's a spider web of units chasing after other units. And this is where the Skaven excels, where they can hit one of your units with 4 of theirs, and all of a sudden a battle you were winning minutes ago, you're now losing. Now, in this situation, I'm just turtling. I'm in position, I'm going to defend as much as I can, but it gives the Skaven the ability to really hit me with as much numbers as I can, because even though I'm routing things, they're just going to rally, come back, and hit me again. Now, smart Skaven player would use all of this to his advantage, hit me with overwhelming numbers, or, you know, test what areas were weak, especially with Skaven slaves, which are pretty, you just throw them away, and then come back in force where I was weakest. I'm going to have to show off some of the Slan's abilities this game. Yeah, my Saurus, I think, are getting pretty peppered with slingers, which shouldn't do really all that much damage at all, but if they just keep shooting them, they'll wear them down a little bit. As a result, I think I'm going to move them back, because they are one of my more valuable, very valuable units. and I'm going to take the place. Now I'm particularly happy with how Solus reacts and acts in our mods, and I might go over them a little bit more in a different video. Plague monk.
I'm brave, but not now.
Okay, so we're about 17 minutes in, and you know, I wouldn't say our lines have really hit each other in force yet. You know, there's a lot of maneuvering going on. I would say the main push now is assembling over here, kind of. I really think at this point, he's kind of just trying to hit me with the slingers. You know, because again, the AI is not particularly bright, and so what the AI is probably thinking is this map is not like a normal field map. There's a lot of different things going on, and it's trying to act, again, because the AI doesn't have really that many scripts or templates that it can take from, trying to act like a field battle map. And so it's thinking, because I'm standing still and I have some skirmishers and things vaguely in front of my units, that it wants to have a sort of a line battle with me, and that's where it's coming with these slingers. But it also, because of the nature of the fact that we're not really in a straight line, it's kind of all over the place. It's also coming in at other areas to attack in melee. Now, you know, this ends up being, I mean, it's kind of like, a simulation of reality, because, you know, Skaven, hold on. Skaven would not really have super strong tactics, and you could say a lot of that would be, you know, just, you know, hit and run kind of things going on. This is like a large, very, you know, not a very quick battle at all. There's lots of skirmishing, there's lots of jungle fighting, there's lots of stuff going on. You could even, you know, role play that this battle would be going on for like a day, you know, depending what, you know, stuff's going on in campaign. There's lots of stuff that could be going on, so it's really cool. I am really particularly worried, although this is such a juicy target. I wish. Okay, well, I mean, I guess I could show this off. This is going to get at a crazy amount of kills, but, and possibly turn to tactical battle. But let's see it nonetheless. Our spells are far different than vanilla, very powerful, especially the slam version of spells. They have their own version of spells. This could be really quite devastating. Alright, I lied. So, this is the point where I gotta remind people that the mod is still a work in progress. And I'm not sure, that should have probably done more damage. I'm not really sure. The only thing I think of off the top of my head is that for some reason that's not working the way it's supposed to. I'm pretty sure I know your Thunderbolt works correctly, so I'll just give you. Maybe I do overget. I'll just give you a flavor of what, you know, Blake's magic is more like.
Spell must go fear. Then flee! We run!
Well, I can honestly say, I mean, there's just so many Skaven that even those 2 spells didn't put that big a dent in this group. That's crazy. Wow. You really need some good vortex spells over here.
Should we run? Flee?
We'll get some. So, uh-oh, pretty bad. I'm saying it goes.
They flee. We run.
All right, I'll show you the wind spell, wind blast spell in a second. Perhaps that will have more of an impact. I think it's better for the mass clippings and winter than I thought the comet and the thunderbolt were going to be. There's just so many Skaven here. But just to give you an idea. Something's definitely going on with the thunderbolt and the comet. Because that didn't kill nearly as many people as I thought it was going to. I'll show you. I'll show you banishment. Oh, he's not straight. Oh, he's going to have to. Oh, this is good. So the way banishment works in our mod is it's more of a gravitational pull. So it affects lighter units much more than the heavy units. So the bad ogres are not going to be so heavily affected as those do. But this is, you see, all of the Skaven are actually being pulled in sort of by gravitational force into the Spanish. They're not moving their speed of will. And this is more in line with our. So he just got 500 kills off that one spell. So Comet of Kazandora should have earlier, and so Thunderbolt should have killed quite a few Skaven. I'm not sure why they didn't. I'm going to have to look into that, but that was more in line with what it should have been. As you can see, it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. We just killed 500 Skaven. Now keep in mind, 500 Skaven off of 16,000. So, really not that big a chunk. But a big deal nonetheless. So we're 22 minutes in now. If I was feeling particularly aggressive, I might go one way I could do this, and just an example of how maneuver matters much more, and now that things have slowed down to a more realistic pace, the battles aren't over in 2 to 4 minutes. I could tank some of my lesser infantry or my skinks, or skirmishers, kind of siphon off a few of them to this side of the battlefield, or a section in which I think the majority of the Skaven are on, so sort of this half of the battle, and then start to maneuver the majority of my forces over and against this section here, to try and take out the head of the snake while I keep the body at bay. Now, that might work, it might not. With Skaven, I'm hesitant to try it again because they really do have a huge advantage when you try to outmaneuver them and then fail because you can't kill enough of them before they rout. As you can see, there's just so many Skaven. So I'm a little bit surprised, actually. The last time I did this battle, which is probably 2 hours ago, I tried to record it and ended up screwing up. It's not that great at recording. The Skaven were much more aggressive. I ended up, at this point in the battle, many more had died on both sides. This particular Skaven AI player is taking things actually pretty cautiously. I'm actually particularly interested in this kind of big grouping. I really think it's because the last time we didn't have any skirmishers. This one does, and so they're being much more cautious and being more piecemeal with their attacks. I've yet to see if that's going to make like a big difference or not, because the balance bar is still in the favor of the Skaven, but if they keep up these hit-and-run tactics for or these, like, these trial attacks for too long, it could end up being that they have routed so many times they have to cap and shatter and run off. I'm not really sure. Although if the AI's plan here, it really wouldn't be a plan. It's kind of the way it would work out. But the way the AI works out is that they amass enough of their forces and then come at me to do some real damage. That might be a consideration. I'm actually, there's a few particular units that I'm really worried about. Poison Winged Bouviers right there, that's one of them. I gave them also Warp Fire Throwers, though I do not see where they are currently. I'm going to have to assume they're either back here or somewhere I don't know about. This should be a example. Okay, so the Cold One Riders, the way we did Saurus Warriors in our mod is that we went for more lore. The more Saurus Warriors that you would call, they're gigantic, and they pack a huge punch. That's why they're such good infantry. They're basically monstrous infantry. And the thing about the Cold One Riders is, Cold One for a Velociraptor type thing, a raptor type thing, to be able to carry an 8-foot tall, 1,500-ish pound reptilian warrior, it needs to be giant. So these guys are basically the size of like allosaurs, making them huge monstrous calves, really effective. That's why there's only a fewer than 10 in a unit, and they're just going to chew through these Skaven slaves. I mean, you've seen what they did on the charge. It was nasty. And they're going to cause all kinds of fear in this unit, as well as just decimate them. So I'm not really worried about them at all. They are some of the best cavalry currently in game because of the fact that they're basically monstrous cav. Now, that's not something... I don't think that was in tabletop. I don't think Cold Ones were particularly great cavalry in tabletop. I'm not sure. But and even in lore, I don't think they get mentioned too much. I don't know for sure about that though. But just the fact that that's where the realism comes into play, and White might have like a leg up on, say, lore or other things that are going on. And I would like to say that all of our, I mean, realism we went for first, but surprisingly we based our stats with modifiers and other things going on the tabletop stats. So we have all of the tabletop books that we've taken stats from, and then we send them through other processes we have where they get a lot of modifiers to make things more realistic, and that's where the stats that we come up with come from. So they're based actually in tabletop, but they're not tabletop, if you want to call it that. Yeah, this is a little... I think I might sally out. Try to hit him. We're actually... This is not working for the Skaven AI at all. I think they're doing more poorly than they were. They did a pretty good job, actually, when it came up. One thing that I'll give the Skaven, because probably a lot of people watch, oh man, you're just chewing through the Skaven. I mean, look at these numbers. We've lost not even 1,000. They've lost 2,000, something like that, and it'll probably be a much, much bigger gap as time goes on. As the tourists get really involved in things, it's going to become a really much bigger gap. Especially with the bigger dinosaurs in the slime and things. But one thing that's important to note is that Wake's mod is a mod based in campaign. We're more concerned with campaign than anything else, and so you have to take this in the context of how it might look in a campaign show. And the truth is, well, let me just preface this with, balance is a bad word as far as I'm concerned with my mod. I don't like balance. I don't want things to be balanced. I want things to be imbalanced. I think in lore and in real life, things are never, especially in lore, balanced, quote unquote. You know, the things are nasty, they're brutal, they're oftentimes one-sided, oftentimes the underdog comes through. But it's never like, you know, oh, this is very bad actually. Yeah. Okay, so what you're seeing here is poisoning globadiers hitting these skinks, and I think you're about to see what's about to happen. It's important to note that these guys, that the poisoning globadiers also affect their own units. So if, say, they had a big grouping of Skaven slaves here who are attacking, they would also be hit with these bombs. Now look at this health. They were above half. They also affect more. The smaller the unit, the more it gets affected. But this unit was more than half health and is now below a third. They're likely all going to die. Actually, it's very not good. Even these skinks were affected. Yeah, there you go. They're completely gonna get decimated as they've all been poisoned to death. So too those skinks and those skinks as well. Though I think the skinks furthest ahead were actually Ooh, this Bastildon's routing. That's not good. Okay. See that little... That was not... Okay, hold on. I do not want the... Deathwind Globadiers to hit the source. That is possibly #1 priority. Okay, I could maybe... I think what I'm going to do here is kind of fall back. Yeah, okay, I don't know if that was his plan, was to soften me up real good with those Deathbow Deers and then move in. I mean, I'm saying plan, that's the way it worked out. Yeah, it doesn't generate plans like that. Actually, don't generate, I mean, they don't. But I'm still very worried about those Deathbow Deers. Still don't see them. Score Scarfet, totally terrifying a bunch of rats. I think what I'm doing is have these Soras take a stand over here. Maybe that'll... Man, I still don't see these deers. Oh no. Okay, that's not a good. He's just gonna get bogged down. Do another banishment just to kind of show you. This is actually probably not the best spot for a banishment because there's not really that. The density of units here is very good, but they'll kill these slingers like it'll kill them. Yeah, I don't see a wasted one, but I kind of wanted to use another scroll, so I did. I'm just gonna leave these Crockets right here. They'll fight to the last. Alright, so we're a little over 30 minutes in now at this point. Okay, this is smart. He's you know, as much as he can, he's trying to surround these Soras. Now, it's not going to matter too much because, like I said, there is a large gap between most anything that Skaven can bring as infantry and even Soras throughout the field. I mean, these guys are going to shoot through these Skaven like nobody's business. Okay, this could be a game changer. The Warlord is out by himself, and he's gonna get just completely munched by these Cold One Riders. And if I can kill him, at least one army will have a major morale debuff, which is really bad for this game, obviously. Again, I'm starting to laugh. But I mean, look at this. This is just a this is kind of normal for scaling. I mean, this is a little bit worse because this map is so. It has so many dips, dives, hard areas to traverse. There's just like this expanse of people all over the place. But I mean, this is definitely can be a situation where Skaven, where you have all these units all over the place, and if you're trying to hunt them, you're soon going to be all over the place. So, I think, what is this? 5 units of Skaven? Clan Rats, Skaven Slaves, Skaven Slaves, Skaven Slaves, Skaven Slaves, or Clan Rats. Okay, so, even if they could get, if the AI was really smart and got a nice rear charge right now, I still would heavily favor these Source Spears in this engagement, and they are Source Warriors in this engagement. They are heavily outnumbered as well. I'm not worried about them. They're totally fine to leave there. Now, they're going to get one thing I haven't talked about in the mod that's really, really important is fatigue. Fatigue is extremely important. It's far more important than in vanilla, and can lead to victory defeat just in the way that you don't or do handle your fatigue. Oh, that's such a juicy target. I guess this is almost as juicy. And is it? It's not in range. It's barely out of range. I really want to. Check this out. Oh, man.
Save my own fur! We are doomed!
So 937 kills for the Slime Priest, bringing down the pain. And he should have, if Comet and Bolt of Aeron were working the right way, should have a lot more kills, to be honest with you. But even now, let's look at the scores. We got 11,000 Skaven versus 2,200 lizards of various kinds. So we've killed about 5,000. We lost over 1,000 troops so far. Now, of course, you know, this is we're defending, so in 23 minutes, if the Skaven don't take us out, we'll have won. Okay, so the other thing I was going to say is, you got to think about this in the context of campaign. I mean, campaign, Lizardman armies, Lizardman as a faction, the Saurus warriors and the meaner stuff are really hard to get. They're really hard to get hold of. They're really hard to reinforce. You know, I mean, for instance, if I lost this Slan major, it would be a devastating blow to my campaign. I mean, I'm not talking about like the battle would hit. Even if I win the battle, if I lose this Slan major, not even, you know, if I win the battle, even if I won the battle, if I lose the Clan Mage 3, it's a big issue for me. And that can be so that, for instance, I can get a battlefield victory sort of a strategic loss. Skaven, on the other hand, really don't give a crap about most of their stuff and reinforce almost instantaneously in campaign. Like, these Skaven slaves, not a problem at all. They could lose 10,000 Skaven slaves in this battle, lose the battle, kill some of my good stuff, and still call it a good game in terms of campaign mechanics for this game. So while this looks impressive, you're like, oh, you know, he lost 1,000, he killed 5,000, he's making it excellent. Honestly, as far as like, you know, the strategic implications of what's going on here, I'm not doing so well. I mean, at the moment I'm doing okay because most of my mead stuff is either not dead or hasn't taken too many casualties. And I'm talking about like my 4 source units, my heroes, this end section here. Some of these guys are hurting though, you know, like my Cold One Riders, below half health. Well, I haven't lost the models below half health. I think 2 units of Croxagors are routed or gone. That's not good. See, there's a Warfire Thrower. So, you know, it all depends on... So these Cold One Riders are actually in a bad spot. They tried to kill the Warlord. The Warlord was sneaky enough to get out of a position where he was in major danger, and then he was reinforced by several units of Skaven. Especially these spears have kind of, with enough of them, they're completely surrounded individually, these Cold One Riders. This is why cavalry and big stuff needs to be supported. You have so many things surrounding this guy. The bonuses for being surrounded like this in Armad are much more significant than, say, in vanilla. So I think these guys are actually going to die here, which is again a tactical blunder. If you were in campaign, this would be not a good thing at all. You would try to get these guys out. You'd be more protective of them. If you did lose them, it would be pretty sad, pretty bad situation. And if you killed 10,000 Skaven slaves, it wouldn't really be worth the trade. Especially if they were, you know, veteraned up. Veterans is a much bigger deal in our minds. And even Rat Ogres are kind of pretty good for Skaven, but they're almost a dime a dozen as well. You know, created in a lab, easy to produce, not that big a deal if they lose. If they die, that's kind of their job. And here my Golden Riders are taking off. Now, thankfully, we only lost 1 mile. They're low on health. They're going to run away, and they have the mass to be able to really get out of dodge here. So I think they're going to be okay. But this is something you'd have to pay attention to in the campaign for sure. And all of the, you know, sort of campaign battles are much more about the mainline infantry of every army, you know what I mean? The vanilla battles got to the point where there was a lot of exotic stuff, where armies were like these mash of like really elite units, exotic, big monsters. There wasn't really a main line, and most armies, the big mean elite stuff or monstrous kind of stuff is more of like, you're not gonna have a whole, I mean, if you do have an army composed entirely of that stuff, it's gonna be really bad for your opponent, but it'd be really expensive, it'd be hard to maintain. You're not gonna see a lot of that. I think most of these guys are shattered, which means, for all intents and purposes, they're out of the fight. So this is one of the problems with this particular method this Skaven AI is choosing. I said he's going piecemeal. He had his guys keep hitting me, but they've routed so many times now they shattered. Now this unit, they're almost dead. They're not super helpful. Same with these plague monks, but I mean this is a full unit. Skaven slaves here. It's not going to be any helpful anymore. And same with these guys. They're just not particularly useful after a certain point, and that point is getting shattered. I don't think. Now he's got, even with all that stuff running away, he's got 10,000 guys on the field, and those shattered units count as a loss in this meter, but it doesn't mean that I killed. I would say that we actually haven't killed. I mean, again, I think the chances are pretty good we're going to win this, but this would not be considered a strategic victory by any means. It would have been a lot better, I think, especially in campaign, if I had my, first of all, the spells working correctly, but secondly, the Slan Priest tooled up, because he would have easily could have gotten like 4,000 kills plus, and really caused some major mass routing for a lot of things in this battle, had he been tooled up the right way. But because he was not, or is not, he is having trouble. Hasn't killed as many people as he had 270 kills on the Source Warriors. Now, even if they're trading, I mean, they've lost more health. They've lost only 2 models. They've lost a significant amount of health there, maybe a fifth of their health pool. You know, they kill so many Skaven. They're so good at killing Skaven, but there's just so many Skaven that it doesn't really matter. 270 Skavens, even clan rats, even Stormvermin for Skaven are just such an easy, recruitable thing. And those Source Warriors, the way the mod is, so it was for a minute, and then it was changed because it's hard to update. Now it's probably back to the vanilla. The way it's going to be in the future is the only way to get Source Warriors as the Lizardmen is through missions that you complete, and then have access to recruiting. You can't just recruit Source Warriors. So they're really a commodity, and a lot of the more nasty things for the Lizardmen will be. Okay, this is not good. Okay. That is the Warpfire Thrower. And that guy is going to, I think, kill my Bastille. Hopefully this does enough damage to the Warpfire Throwers that they either run away or kill. Yeah, the weapons teams for Skaven they're one of their strong points. It's how they get rid of the more elite units of other factions, and they're really quite good at it. Okay, so the Clan Mage Priest did at least a number on them. They weren't able to kill the Bastille before they themselves routed. I think they might end up dying of the Blood Statuette of Spite, which is good. Okay, that's not good. Smart move by the AI, though. They literally have flanked me with these rat ogres.
Lustrian shock.
Yeah, actually really good move by the AI.
Text.
15 minutes left, but you can see, I mean, the battle has shifted so many times. We have now, there's this big, large mass of them on this side of the field. Look at the dead bodies there. Alright, this should be good. And now you understand something of the power of magic and awakes. Let's look at the old slant skill count now. It's 1590. I mean, you can see they're still outnumbering me by a considerable dose. Something like 4-1. I feel confident enough on this side where I'm actually going to try and move ahead and attack. Be a little more aggressive. We got about 10 minutes left of the battle. Okay, here's a plague claw, or the catapult. Skaven catapult is now in range. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, it's way over there. That's so we need to actually rush in as fast as we can to get out of the way of this catapult range. Or I should say under the canopy of the forest and out of this kind of open area. Yeah, you can see that the catapult artillery is hitting a lot of these trees. It's extremely ineffective. But if it were to get a hit, it would be pretty devastating. You realize you tried to do it. Another thing I don't like about vanilla, and we had the previous versions, but we just haven't updated it into the main one, is all of these special effects that go on during the battle. I actually really hate those. I think it's dumb. It's you know, it's there to let you know that the thing, the effects are happening. You can always scroll over and see, and I just don't. I think it looks really gaudy and just not really pretty bad. So I do turn those off. For most of the updates, and most of them are off. There's a few of them that are doing. That's why there's a lot of stuff going on. So about 500 kills. They lost maybe 20 guys, but they're below half health. Starting to even up now a little bit though, even with about 1,500 versus 7,400. We've killed or neutered a lot of their more elite units. So I don't think we're actually going to see the end of this battle. I think it's going to end in 6 minutes with us winning. Obviously, I've been hiding the foliage most of this battle to elucidate better gameplay, but you know, actually, you know, it looks much better obviously with the foliage. It was slightly choppy. This would look awesome. I mean, it does certainly look awesome. And when I think of, you know, losing and fighting Skaven in the jungles of Lustrian, this is what I picture. I picture hordes of Skaven coming at battle lines of Saurus and meeting them in fiery melee and just having just devastation on both sides. Definitely dense jungles, but I think. This is certainly claustrophobic. I think these guys are off to the hills. So, like I said, almost definitely going to be a victory for the Lustrian, but unfortunately, this is more of a strategic victory for the Skaven, all things considered, to be honest with you. I mean, 3 units of Scorus that have strength, 1 Proxigor killed, I believe, or routed, don't remember, but still he nearly killed 3 Proxigors down in health. Definitely not particularly great. I mean, you can lose. The skinks aren't super important, but it's not. You know, if this was a Skaven human player and he was being more, you know, using his units better, using some more conservative, especially with the poison ones, Globadiers, warp drive throwers, and things of that nature, really could have killed a lot of my elite players and really turned this battle around, especially. In the previous battle, my slam ended up getting killed by a lead ogre unit that flanked around, came around the back end. I wasn't prepared for it, and that was a huge blow. If I would have lost a slam mage priest in this battle and campaign, even if I would have killed every single Skaven in this battle, it wouldn't have been a worthy trade. We got a minute left in the battle. So I hope this gives you a little taste of things to come. I'm super excited for the Penquan Icket Claw DLC. And you know, we have so much more fun. I mean, this is really a long-term mod goal. We had a mod in Warhammer 1, there's the release of Warhammer 1, and there's so many places we want to go. So as you can see, their losses weren't actually that great even. These are the, you know, in the main bar up here, it was telling me how many they had lost, but that was counting people who had routed or shattered. We only really killed 5,000, you know, 400 guys, and we lost 2,344. It's not a super great trade. Now, the vast majority of that was my boy Slan Mage Priest over here, who got like 1,800 kills, I think. He rocked the house, and all these, the big kill counts come from the more elite stuff, like, and the Saurus Warriors for sure, Croxigor, Cold One Riders. This Chameleon Skunk unit got 111 kills. Some of these skinks did pretty good, but that's all, you know, they're fighting Skaven slaves more than likely. Some did really poor. Some of these guys might have been fighting Storm Vermin, something like that. And then as you can see, I mean, this Rat Ogre unit got 317 kills. The Hellpit didn't do that great, but again, they went for the just charge it straight in, not caring that much for it approach. Most of these Skaven slaves coming out with like low or 0 kills even. The Storm Vermin, or I'm sorry, the Plague Monks handle themselves pretty well, but I'm assuming they were either fighting better units and same with the Storm Vermin. These guys might have been the ones doing some damage to the Saurus. But you know, this is generally, you know, for really large battles, this is what you can expect with Wakes. And hopefully only better stuff in the future. So, thanks for watching.